listening to AchieveRadio.com. A new drummer for a new awakening.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie, and you are listening to Tarot Joy at Achieve Spiritual, Holistic, and Self-Improvement Psychic Radio. Today's guest is my also often very common brother, Joseph Gritch, my spiritual brother. Last week was my spiritual sister, Adrienne Austin. This week is my spiritual brother, Joseph.
Hi.
Joseph of Lilacs. Joseph
Yeah,
loves spring
I
lilacs.
there they are.
And
Actually, these are slightly later blooming type. They're pinks of some kind. Our purple ones and old fashions, as they call them, have they're already gone already. And lilacs are one of those things where it's like they're here now. Enjoy them now because they're gone.
I know it. It's kind of like iris or roses or anything. I guess they each have their season, and then they're gone. But
Yeah.
but you can kind of mark the chapters of your life if you've been around those flowers, those things you love, and kind of, judge what happened when just by what flowers were blooming, especially in
Hmm.
pictures. So, today I thought that we would discuss, and it kind of went from one subject to another subject. I started out wanting to talk about spring madness and the funny things that happen during the seasons when people get, you know, really pumped up with testosterone and estrogen, and it's kind of like we all become halfway crazed, and especially in the younger years, and that for gardeners and things like that, they just get to itching and being outside. And for depressed people and bipolars, it often tends to be a time of suicide or extremes. Oftentimes our animals die. The older
Yeah.
animals will die in spring. What do you say about all that?
Well, I think it's the change of season that actually makes it more likely that these things would happen. It's an abrupt change of season sometimes, and we have winter struggling to hang on. Um, I've noticed that people get ill beginning in March, between around this time even too in May, because uh, they haven't adapted yet physically, to the warm weather.
Right.
And two, this could also bring about emotional uh, extremes as well. I mean, if you're having physical extremes, I could understand the emotional extremes, and especially now people have been cooped up all winter. And so they either want to go out and have fun, or they're looking for a fight, or they're not, or they're just too giddy. They're not being careful about what they're doing.
Like the bikers that just exploded into warfare in Texas. Um,
Yeah.
waiting until they could have that day when they're all on their bikes and they're all out there. Suddenly turf people become very animal like, don't they? People
They do.
become
And
it's
it's something I've always had a hard time understanding with some people, even growing up. I mean, there are always those kids that like want to fight.
yeah.
And it's like, why? Why? I don't want to fight. I mean, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I mean, I don't have that anger. I might have anger in a different way, but I don't have the kind of anger where I want to commit violent acts, and I don't understand it. And
Right.
there's adults and people like this out there that I always classify them as, oh, those are the other people. Those are the people that can't reason. They don't have the wit to see humor or anything. They're right away quick to uh, you know hurt somebody or commit some violent act, and I don't understand it. It's a behavior I don't get. It's the extreme emotions that I don't get.
Was
you
I
know
was listening to CNN this morning, and it said that this one guy that had been with Texas bikers a long time says that it has more to do with brotherhood, and
yeah.
that some men belong to the Lions Club and some men belong to golf clubs,
Hmm.
but there is another more rebellious male crowd or female that just want to belong to the brotherhood or the sisterhood of born to be free, and but it's very strange because there's a lot of bikers out there that are good people, but this
Absolutely.
this
Yeah.
is just it's like anything else, I guess, the
Yeah.
testosterone crazed fighters that just needed to get it out of their blood, for whatever reason. I thought today we would talk about empaths as well.
Hmm.
Um, my feeling is that oftentimes, did you get that little message I sent to you on empaths?
um yes, I did, but I didn't have a chance to look at it.
Yeah. Well, you know, go to your Facebook
Okay, I'll do
and
that.
click up that passage. Um,
Yeah,
it
I was sorry. I was running around and just
with
trying to get
lilacs and
myself
such, I know.
running around playing with lilacs.
Hey, what's more
That's
important?
me. Lilacs, of course. So I know I do have it. Let me just of course the
And
lilacs are in the
do want
way.
to I
No,
do want to
I'm
say that the number to call in for a,
oh,
reading
empath.
for
Okay.
some tarot counseling with Joseph Gritch and I. And by the way, Joseph Gritch wrote the music, and the singing is all by Joseph Gritch on my entry music, and he
Thank you.
does a lot of trance music that's real great, and that one always reminds me of little Buddhist monks doing,
Yeah, it's sort of
with their arms folded.
I guess the category I fall into in terms of music or performance is, I guess it falls into avant-garde because you never really know what it's going to be.
Yeah,
It's not like electronica for dance, but it is created usually with electronic means. And but I also record a lot of sounds that I use. I do a lot of nature recording. If I find crickets, I record, and sometimes I could incorporate that into what I'm doing. Um, but lately I'm leaning more toward more of a reflective and meditative pattern than I was before, and I've been enjoying it. Different experiments. It's always everything's an experiment with me when it comes to creativity you know. So
mark of a true artist. Mark of a true
yeah, it's
artist.
it's different. I guess I'm not so much a singer as I was as I liked acting, and I knew how to perform or how to create a mood, and so I tend to use that. And but I never was into singing. I mean, I used to get by with it sometimes if I had to, but I never had the vocal training for that really.
Right.
You know.
Well, I do want to tell everybody that they can call into the show and receive two readings per call. by going to by dialing 602 666 6027. That's 602 666 6027. The room is quiet. I did a lot of marketing early this morning. So
Uh-huh.
generally, the way it goes is if you do it at the very last minute and throw it up there, the instantaneous gratification, people
It's
will
fun.
then jump in, you know. But
I was just looking at the empath article that you sent me, and
yes, why
yeah,
don't you talk about that?
I can relate to it. As when a person is more sensitive, if you're psychic, or we call that if you're an empath, where you pick up on the emotions of others. Is that not right? Is that right? Is that you're
Yes.
open to their energies and their feelings? Yeah, I understand that because often I've been rather reclusive at times because I've just had enough, and I tend to stay away from crowds because I can pick up on the massive overall energy, common energy, and sometimes it's an aggressive sort of feeling. I don't like to receive it, so I tend to be the one that walks onto the patio to get away
Yeah,
for a
well,
while, you know.
here's an example. They said an example would be you drop by the mail one Saturday morning and you feel great. You get
Uh-huh.
into the mail, walk past a crowd of people, and start feeling a bit strangely. It can
Mm.
be anything. You can feel very down, very angry, very sad, very excitable. The key word here is very, and you
Yes.
won't have any explanation for it. You just feel it. In other words, you've suddenly gone bipolar without actually having the biological deficiency that causes it. And
Hmm.
what's worse, you can't turn it off. You can carry on trying to ignore it, but eventually it will be overwhelming to the point you just want to go home and be alone. This is the reality of an empath, one who hasn't yet learned how to block other people's emotions out. Being around other people is such a harrowing experience. Most of them prefer to keep their own company, living the life of a hermit, and they usually find it very much worth it.
Hmm. Actually, too, there is a way, and as the article points out, and this is something that I'm able to do most of the time, but sometimes when I can't do it, that's when I retreat. They recommend that you strengthen your natural empath shielding defense field, and by distracting yourself from it, by visualizing a wall or a force shield around yourself. Sort of envision a glowing egg of energy around you. And they recommend you pick your favorite color. And the more vivid you imagine the shield, the stronger it will be. So you do have to use your imagination. If you
Mhm.
can't visualize, it's not going to work. And of course, if you can't visualize, you probably wouldn't be an empath anyway.
Right,
So,
right.
but that is a way of doing it. Is to is create a distraction so that you're not in the direct line of this. That used to happen to me, and it didn't happen a lot, because I had practice with protecting myself from it, and sometimes I get really tired of always having to imagine. Of always having to create that defense. But there were times when all of a sudden there's this wave of sadness that hits me, or something like that, or a wave of aggression, you know um, and it's something, and you know it's not you. But by this point in your life, you know that this is not you. Because you're fine. But you are getting it from somebody else, and
Someone else's energy.
yeah, and the thing is, in my life, I have been exposed to several friends that I thought were friends, but actually what they were, I call them energy and emotional vampires.
Mhm.
They're always unhappy. and they're always calling you, and every time you see them they rain on your parade, and they rain on everything, because they cannot handle seeing anyone having a good time, because they're always perpetually miserable, and they always want your sympathy, but they will never follow your advice to solve their problems, because then that will take away what they do. They call and complain and whine and cry, and it never goes away. I mean, I know that there are people that do need help. They will call and say, "Oh God, I have this problem," and that's what friends are for. But there are some people that this is their life. This is what they do with their life. I call them energy vampires and emotional vampires. They just
Mm-hmm.
suck the life force and the joy out of every situation. And I've seen them wreck parties. It's just like, oh God, don't invite this person, please, because they
Well,
will be the one that shows up with a bad cold, and of course nobody wants to be around them, or they will show up and just be a total wreck, and everyone that comes near them will just like want to like leave, because
right.
they'll be the one that will bring the conversation down, and especially if it's not about them, you know.
Well, it
So
says
yeah, you have to protect yourself.
yes, and it says here is another case of experiencing other people's physical ailments. It says this is most common with those of you who have an emotional connection, but can occur with anyone. A
Hmm.
very good example of this would be suddenly feeling very lethargic and fatigued for no reason, and having to remain in bed for a day or two. You're not sick, not really. You're not ill, yet you feel that you are profoundly, and you later find out that your illness coincided with a lover's or family member's sudden fatigue resulting from legitimate illness, even though they were in another country at the time and you had no idea until after the fact. Symptoms can also manifest in the form of chest pains, cramps, migraines, etc., and you basically experience it all without contracting the actual illness. Now that
Wow.
I seem to be pretty protected from. But the
Yeah.
one thing that I really related to, um, it's this is another one. It says feeling overwhelmed when watching something horrible in real life or even on television. This one sounds silly, but viewing the news or depressing commercials designed to induce sympathy and open wallets can debilitate an empath for several hours. While most people get upset over homeless dogs and cats, an
Hmm.
empath will often feel like their hearts have been ripped out of their chest. That's a literal definition, by the way. It's not something as shallow as sympathy or even regular empathy. It's a feeling of guilt and moral empathy that cannot be easily taken away. Crying is very common, and not just during that time of month when all the emotions are out of whack.
Well, actually, men kind of have those moments too. Especially the older we get. I think it might be a loss of hormones.
It
But
could be.
I am really glad that I don't have those symptoms, where you experience the symptoms or the illness. I'm glad
Ah,
that I didn't know about that. And I'm glad I know that there are people that can make other people ill if you're in their presence, and that was happening to me because at the last job I worked at for 20 years, we had some new people, and actually they were making everybody ill. I mean, they made me ill,
oh,
and after I had departed from there, I remembered I slept like for 3 days, literally. Just I only got up to eat and take care of things, and but for the most part, I slept a lot after I left because it was very they were just very damaging, and the thing is I couldn't get away from them. I had to try to cope with them because this was my job. You know, you can't
right.
just quit. And but this is the sort of thing that happens, and boy, my shields weren't working because they were so intrusive, and I suspect that they were probably intruding even further beyond what I was realizing. But now this happened to my brother and his wife. They were staying with a woman. They were renting, and the agreement was to all live together for a short time when they lived in Sedona. And they had to get away from her because she was such an emotional roller coaster and her energy level was so destructive that they
Mm-hmm.
started to get illnesses from her. I mean, my sister-in-law had gotten like an enlarged heart and everything, and her arthritis was horrible. And after they moved,
It cleared up.
um, it cleared up. They got away from it and it cleared up. And as for the TV, yeah, I don't watch a lot of news. I watch what I need to watch. I have that
Right.
segment of the day where I check things. But now a friend of mine always has the talk TV on
Oh,
all the time,
oh,
constant. It's always the news shows. And even though they are in alignment with my basic belief system and I agree with most of what they say, I don't want to keep hearing all the yelling and the screaming and
no.
all the talk. It's like, you know what? I already have enough bad news. I
Hey,
already
yeah,
know that the world has gone to hell in the handbasket. I know this. I don't want to be constantly reminded of it. And besides that, they're going to talk about it and yes, they're right, but then do something about it. Or tell me how to
right.
do something about it. But that's all I'm hearing is the preaching to the choir, and even that gets tiresome after a time. I find it very depressing. So I don't watch anything like that. I don't watch crime shows because I find them depressing. I like movies. I like to be entertained when I turn on my TV, or I like to watch things that are fascinating, like nature shows and shows about the cosmos,
Right.
and the stuff that we talk about. And those are the things that I find peace with, and that is also, besides that, I find it very entertaining. So it's a double purpose. And that is something I do recommend to. There are people who are meditate too much and they're too focused on being open, and
Oh, you
and they
mean they're
don't get
too focused in
rest.
their heart chakra?
Right. They're too open and they can't sleep. I've heard this complaint before, and I've always told them, and it seems to work, and it worked for me, is that, maybe before bed, watch something insipid and simple, like watch a sitcom or something. Watch something funny that's going to take your mind off of things that doesn't require a whole lot of thought. Something not designed to be thought provoking that'll keep you up all night, but maybe something silly so you can laugh and then make bedtime a whole process, like of relaxing the whole thing,
Right.
and that helps to shut things out,
Here,
you
this
know.
sounds more like you. It says, "Do people open up to you even if you don't want them to?"
Oh,
Some empaths are the new agey peace loving types, but many just want to be alone because they have difficulty processing everything they absorb from other people. This is usually because they have yet to realize their abilities and haven't learned to deal with it yet. For an empath, however, putting on a grumpy face doesn't keep people they barely know drawing near and seeking compassion and empathy from them. The ill, the suffering, the weak, they are all drawn to the unconditional understanding and compassion of an empath emits. And empaths emit it whether they want it or not. That's not to say empaths can't be mean and nasty people. They surely can be, but it's usually those empaths with the most profound sensitivity who have simply broken down inside and have no other way of keeping others' emotions at bay. Again, these are empaths who don't know of their own abilities.
hmm. Well, I would say I usually am remarkably patient, which leads others to think that they can keep pushing because to see how far they can go, you know and
Hmm.
really I don't get upset with anybody unless it becomes really clear that they really don't care if they're causing me a problem,
Hmm.
and then that is a signal that's I can actually get pretty mean, in what I say about that
Mm.
sort of thing, and then that's when all the walls go up. And believe me, if anyone trying to see me or talk to me during that time, it's like I've disappeared off the face of the earth. I will
Mhm.
block. I have gone through great lengths to block certain people out of my life because it has become clear that they don't care what destruction they do. They really don't
Right.
care. And it's like, you know what? I'm a person. Now I'm trying to help you, but you're making me miserable. And it's not because I don't know how to put up my shields. This is something that a person clearly doesn't care. And I'm not going to associate with anybody like that. At this point in my life, I think I've filtered out pretty much all the things that bother me.
Yeah, it sounds like
But
you've got it under
yeah,
control there.
I, I,
Well,
I I am known to be, and people have, I don't think it's because it's something I'm not tooting my horn about. Yes, I'm very patient, but a lot of people have told me that I am pretty remarkable in that aspect, that there's a lot. I don't make judgments about people. And so, really when I do the readings and I do cards, I'm not talking about, I don't take stances or moral stances, and I don't take even legal I mean, I'm not concerned about anything. I'm not concerned about man's laws and man's moralities. I mean, when people talk to me, and I'm certainly not going to criticize or make moral judgments. That is not my place, and I wouldn't want somebody doing that to me anyway. Thing is, somebody has asked me a question, and I am going to answer it the best way I can in the way that would help them the best, you know, and to try to
right.
get to what they really want rather than saying, "Oh, I don't think you should do that." It sounds kind of, it's sort of like, well, if it's a moral judgment, I won't make it. I don't. It's not right to do that, and it's something that I have a problem with when other people do it. It's like,
Right.
it's not our place to tell people about such things. But if they want their questions answered, well, certainly. I mean, and the cards come up the way they do, and I always try to give it the best interpretation I can with what I'm able to pick up about it as well. You know,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I think that we have a couple of people in the room, and and we also have Annette from Maryland in the Inquick. So why
Huh?
don't we take 3 calls? And again, those of you who may be kind of running across some of the morning marketing or whatever is going on, just you can watch us on Achieve TV, or you can watch us or just listen. And we'll start out with Jan because she was here first today. Okay?
Hi, Jan.
Hi. How are y'all doing?
Oh,
I'm just
great.
calling for maybe you could pull some cards for the next 3 months and just see anything you might see for me coming up.
Okay. Sort of a general sort of thing, huh? I like
Yes.
those. So
Mm-hmm.
what's in store? What's in store? Next 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Free reign.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm. We're analyzing. We're
Oh
looking.
yes.
We're
Well,
peering.
I have my magnifying glass because it gets my eyes are not what they used to be actually. I need to really look at the symbols sometimes. Um, I am seeing that in the future, though, in the near future, I am seeing that there's some involvement, or you're going to meet some man that's so, I don't know how old you are, but the cards are seeing him as kind of youngish, like maybe under 40, but not exactly a baby either, maybe somebody youthful and yet mature at the same time. I see he has like a romantic sort of calm nature, and someone who is very heartful, makes decisions with his heart and carefully considers such matters. Um, Somebody that is sensitive to others, and makes a very sensitive listener, and just his behavior is very considerate of others, and also has a way of being persuasive as well. So I'm seeing this coming in your future, and I'm seeing it as sort of a proposition of love in your future. What do you think about that? Is there someone that you know now that you're interested in? Because I'm thinking like, okay, this is your future, but we're talking within the next 3 months. Over the next 3 months, I do see some relationship happening, or the seeds of one starting. That could be a good
no,
thing.
no, I don't. I don't.
Really? No?
That's
Well, you have the Knight of Cups in your future here. So,
okay.
or, if you're with somebody now, this could also be them, like going through this sensitive change that somehow makes them more appealing,
That would be nice.
Well, if I look at, I have for the month of May, I show you walking away from something that no longer serves your better good. In other words, something seems stinky that you're walking away from. And whether it's old priorities, or whether it's taking care of people too much in your close knit family, or whether it's walking away from a job, I don't know. But June is seen as very powerful for you. Now, July, I am shown a dark haired, dark eyed male, and it could
Yeah.
be that this person is somebody that is, like Joseph said, a romantic encounter, or somebody that is taking more steps to be responsible, and to be less disappointing. And if this is in a relationship that you already have, or if this is just a different, it could even be a boss. It could even
Mm-hmm.
mean a boss that's finally recognizing your worth, and that he wants to treat you better. And in the fact that he's treating you better, life feels more balanced in August. So that's what I have for the next 3 and 4 months.
Yeah, because no, at
Well, that
present,
sounds.
I'm seeing two men, and the man I'm seeing in the present time is a little older and is more active, like more athletic, and like more of an action type of person. And I'm seeing him in your present time, but I'm seeing this somewhat gentler sort of a man in the near future, becoming more prominent in your life.
Okay, well, that sounds good. I look forward to that, and I thank y'all.
Yeah, he seems
Thank
like a nice
you.
guy. Yeah.
Whether it's a boss or whether it's somebody that is a romantic, it shows somebody's going to give you a break and be
Well, it's
worth your time.
cups. It was not, I had the Knight of Cups, and cups usually
Okay.
pertain to those sweet emotions. Well, it could be love, it could be romance, or it could be simply another kind of love.
Yeah, I always
You
interpret
know.
cups too as creative potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, spiritual and sort of loving sort of emotions.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Jan, well,
Okay, well,
that's what we've got.
thank y'all. Thank
Yeah.
you
Thank.
very much. It sounds great.
You're
All
welcome.
right. Bye bye. We have Anita from Arizona, and then I will go to Annette. Hello, Anita. How are you? I hope
Hi,
life is
Anita.
working out better for you this week.
Oh, hi, Emery. Hi, Joseph. First of all, would I be considered an empath?
Well, what's
Second
been
of all,
happening?
Tell us what's been
well,
happening.
well, it seems okay. It seems that when I'm around people, I allow myself to be aware of their presence and their energy, and it's almost like I become one with them. I mean, of what, and
Yeah.
losing my own self. And what I'm also doing is I'm going to doctor's appointments and I'm putting stuff out there that I think I'm actually harming myself instead of looking, because I think I've given my own power of my own trueness away for so long that I don't know what directions to take, because I'm looking everything around me instead of within me. Does that make any sense?
Yes. It sounds to me like you're an empath, and probably, an unwitting, one, like someone without training. Um, I would say try to do that energy exercise that we talked about, where you imagine yourself shielded by an egg
Mm-hmm.
of energy, to try to visualize yourself with that at different times of the day, or if you have a moment to sit, and just, close your eyes, visualize, and try to imagine that egg of energy around you.
Yeah,
And try to
it's
see if that works, because you really have to practice at it. You really have to make an active movement here to work on this, because it doesn't just happen by itself. You really have to take the time to do this exercise where you just take a few moments and visualize yourself enclosed in this egg of energy, of protective energy.
Mm-hmm.
it says
Okay.
it says take breaks from people.
Hmm.
Normal people give off their crap without realizing it. They don't mean to push it all onto an empath, but our absorbent natures pretty much invite them to do so on sight. If you're not skilled at blocking like the way Joseph told you, don't be afraid to take a little me time once a week or so. And remember, Adrian told you that you needed last week to learn how to calm down and just, focus on just slowing down, calming down. And it says, stay inside, watch a feel good movie, or do something else which makes you happy. And spend quality time raising your vibration, and you'll clear a lot of that gunk out. And so, yes, that says 60% of 60% of people, of empaths, have no idea that they even are empaths. And so the symptoms that you're giving are very much, especially if you're feeling sick or feeling, that sounds like
I
the
do.
kind of, doesn't it, Joseph, that sick thing that we were picking up, talking
Yeah.
about. Maybe you're emotionally taking on too much psychic vampire stuff, like Joseph was saying.
Hmm.
And I think I'm also giving it out lately. I've gotten to the point where I'm starting to give it out. There was another question, if that's okay. I went to I'm seeing a psychologist that I was seeing in the past, and I mentioned about my primary physician because it seemed like I didn't say my own truth. Allowed myself to be persuaded by somebody else's wants of exactly what my health care would be, and it seems like it's been a roller coaster downhill ever since. And I'm putting out there that I need a new a primary, and all of a sudden the psychologist said he talked to some people and he's thinking of maybe going to a facility here in Arizona to be inpatient with a doctor that he knows. I think its first name is Spencer or something like that. But I'm like, and I'm thinking, and I don't know, it just kind of, then I just kind of felt crowded in, and I'm like, am I pushing myself too fast into things and not looking at the big picture? Have I lost that big picture?
I'm not understanding. I'm trying to. So what you're saying is, are you taking on too much too fast, and you're losing the picture and the big picture in the process?
Correct.
Okay. So what do you see on that, Joseph?
Okay. Well, off the top of my head, without drawing a card on it, I would say that, yeah, you do need to step back and, maybe stop focusing on the small small things and take a step back. And yeah, is what they said, to look at the big picture. Let me just see what we got here for you at present. And that's really funny. For the present time, I picked up the Five of Wands, which indicates sort of a caution that that it's something that you're always kind of fighting, like, say, different opinions, and it's like you're getting a lot of conflicting information, which is something that you need to probably the reason why you need to step back is so that you could see how it all comes in together, for the solution, rather than looking at little things, because you're not going to see how the puzzle pieces fit together that way if you're too close to it. Down the line, what I got here is the Eight of Cups, and the Eight of Cups reversed. Actually, it means that you're going to be thinking of leaving a situation that appears to be no longer working, but you also need to stop and look at it a little bit longer, because you haven't given the situation enough time. So that I'm seeing also applies to stepping back to see the big picture, to be the big picture. But it's also a reminder to keep reminding yourself that there are good times ahead for you. It's a reminder that it's not always going to be like this. It's not always going to be a hassle, and that's. But you shouldn't disregard your feelings.
Let me ask you this: do you feel homeless?
I do.
Yeah. Because my reading shows that you feel like you don't fit in anywhere. You don't feel like you have roots. You don't feel like you have a real home, and that it seems as if travel has begun to be something you do to try to find this feeling of home. But no matter where you go, you continually feel a little homeless.
Well, you know what it is? It's her health issues. It's like she's always a slave to these issues, to her health issues and health fears. And is that right? Where it seems like you're always, that's the whole reason for everything, is that you're always pursuing this. You don't have a spot where you can say, I'm home, and this is my breathing time.
Right.
That's the impression I get. Yeah.
Do you?
Right. My parents picked out the home I'm in, and many years ago. And story behind, we were supposed to turn around and make $60,000 in a year, and then I got in an accident, and then I came back to this. I couldn't let go. I couldn't make changes because of there was. I thought I was already on a spiritual path going forward to see the light at the end of the healthcare thing. And then I've just been going through the last 4 years, just going through the motions. And now I'm back here. And I think that there's some like PTSD in it. And that's what, but it's like I don't know if I want to continue on doing this here. And it's like, so I'm trying to look at what I can change around my environment.
I would say continue to go to your counseling. Continue to go to therapy
like
because
yeah.
No, but a lot of it is Anita, that you feel homeless within yourself.
Right.
And so my feeling is that you need to continue to go to your therapy and figure out how you can feel home in your own body.
No matter where I go, yeah.
Because for some reason, it's hard to feel like you have a home when you can't feel like you're home in your own body. So I would say, um, just take time to breathe and focus and slow down and stop looking a million directions for what's wrong. I think the main reason you're feeling sick is because you're sick and tired of feeling like you have no home.
And just something I want you to listen to. I'm going to say something to you, and I want you to think about this feeling before you go to bed each night, or maybe in the morning. Take some time, and I want you now just try and see if it works. But I want you to say to yourself that you revoke all agreements that you might have made with any beings that don't have your best interest in mind. And then you say you also reclaim all energy that had been put into them. And you say to yourself, I revoke all agreements to experience hardship, limitation, bad relationships and health problems, financial problems, family dysfunctions, and anything else in your life that is energy draining. Okay, so I want you to think about that before going to bed. Like make that sort of a prayer, is that because it seems to me that maybe your energies are being taken from you and being used, and it happens a lot with people. And I don't know if you wake up feeling tired after a
Oh
sleep.
yeah, I am, and it's medications I think that I'm on
Well,
too.
that will do it as
And
well.
and then
That is all.
and then so I had somebody come over for a couple of days, and I just couldn't move. I was so tired, and I thought that's why I was thinking I'm taking on some whatever they're going through.
I think you need to start making a mental note to reclaim and to make the statement to yourself aloud or in a whisper. But if you have the time in the day,
How would
and
you
when
say
you're
that in a more simple way? Would you say that I let go of all dysfunction that has
yeah,
created a sense of loss within me?
yes,
I let
yes,
go of all dysfunction that has created a feeling of loss and responsibility. I let it all go.
yeah.
I let it all go.
I'm not going to experience the hardship and limitations. I'm not going to experience the health problems anymore. I'm not going to allow my energy to be used for things or to be used by people or beings that don't have my best interest in mind. I reclaim all of my energy that had gone into this. I am not going to experience a bad life anymore. That's it. I'm not going to. It sounds like, oh, what a wonderful fairy tale, right? You can just say that. Well, you know what? You say this every single day. Make that your prayer, because it seems to me that your energy is just being zapped. And when you thought
Scattered.
you were on that spiritual journey that was an improvement, and all of a sudden now it's not. It's
Am I
time to,
doing
to
it?
it's
Am I
time to
doing it to
reclaim those
myself?
energy. Yeah, it's time to reclaim your energies and to say and to make this statement every day that I am not going to agree to experience hardships anymore. And eventually, over time, these things will start to get further away from you. It's not going to happen all at once, but
We need
it is a way to reclaim your energy and to say, I'm not going to put my energy into this. I'm not going to allow my energy to be used to create problems for my life. I'm not going to do that. I won't have it. And I know it sounds like, oh, what a wonderful solution. If anyone could do that, then we live in a perfect world, right? But you know what? It has to be done every day. Every day you make that your morning statement or right before bed. So that this way it is a warning to anyone who's going to take your energies while you sleep. It's just that there's no reason why you should wake up tired. And I know medications can do that, but I'm thinking that there's other things at work here too. You know, your energies have been depleted,
we need to
and
go. We need to
yeah,
go. We have
Okay.
one more reading.
try it.
Thank you.
Uh,
Okay.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so
this
much.
This is very similar, Joseph, from Annette from Maryland. Hi, Joseph and Anne Marie.
Hi,
I've been
Annette.
feeling I've been feeling weepy for the past several months. A lot of change and loss. I should be happy. I'm still looking for a place to live. Here we are.
Oh,
I think this goes out to Annette as well. Have to move end of the month. Niece living with a cousin. Mom going back to Virginia. Me alone. Help, needing guidance. I think we should repeat that prayer. What do you say, Joseph?
yes. Yes. Reclaim your energies. You know, don't, don't, you know, I would say revoke all agreements that you may have made with any beings that don't have your best interests in mind,
Let
and
go,
people
let
as
go
well.
of, let
Let
go
go
of.
of them, and reclaim that energy, and you tell yourself that you're not going to experience hardship. You are not going to experience hardship, limitation, any bad relationships or health problems, financial problems, dysfunctions, or anything else in your life that's energy draining. Now, what I'm seeing here, what we got here for at present time, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which means anything goes. And right now, you're at a spot where this is where your wheel fell. This is where it ended up because of all the weird circumstances around you that seems to have brought you to this point. But that is something temporary. That's like, well, that's where you are now. Okay, but that's all going to change, when you start recovering, because I am seeing that you're in a recovery period, and you might even be experiencing some, what do you call, PTS, post-traumatic stress
Post-traumatic stress?
syndrome. Well, it's you don't have to be in a war to
No, no,
experience
you
that. I
don't.
mean, there are things in your life that happen that we think, oh, okay, well, I'm in mourning because I lost a family member or someone close, and you figure, well, in a few months you'll be all right. But you know what? It is emotionally draining and damaging, and you're going to feel like, and one of the things about post-traumatic stress syndrome is that, yeah, you will have those moments where all of a sudden you're driving, or you're doing something, and out of the blue you just burst into tears.
Right.
That you're in a period of recovery, and you are going to recover from that. Really, you are. It's just that right now, this is where you're at, you know. Um, but I do see that further down the line, you're going to be nostalgic, and you'll be looking back at the way things used to be. Um, but you're also being encouraged really here to look ahead. Okay, we know what's happened now, but really what you need to do is say to yourself, so what am I going to do next? And what I'm seeing is that this is a good time to involve yourself with work that has some kind of creativity in it, or to incorporate some creativity into your life at this time, and that will help you get through this. What I'm seeing here with the Six of Cups is a recommendation for doing things like drawing, painting, or maybe working on your scrapbooks, or something creative with your personal time, because this will allow you to look to the future. You know,
That
um,
that and also
yeah,
it says we have 3 minutes left. I'm going to add my 2 cents here. It says
certainly.
it says every day, every night. Practice using that prayer that Joseph gave, saying, I let go of all of the dysfunction that has and loss that has created this feeling of sadness and crying. I let it go. And then it says, practice that every day, and then respect yourself and realize that when you feel that you are strong, you will be like a magnet for things that want to come to you in a positive way. So all I can say is, like Joseph said, say that prayer to you every morning, every night, and just be receptive to the fact of what's coming your way that is
Right.
positive. You're going to get out of this whole scenario. And like
Try new
Joseph said,
things.
yeah,
Try new things. You'll
like,
be happy
yes,
that you did.
yes.
Seriously.
And like Joseph said, you'll look back on this nostalgically and you'll realize, wow, what a gunky time of life that was. But you know what? Endings happen for a reason. It was time for you
Yeah.
to go on your journey. So that's
This
it.
too shall pass. And
Say that little
really.
prayer again that you say one more time. Not this one, but the one you said for you
Oh, I
in your
return
car.
all energies. Or is this the one we start your day with? Oh, wait. Oh, wait.
You have 1 minute and 45 seconds. So
My mind just did a brain freeze. But it was. I bring the cosmic forces into my body, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. Say that 3 times. I bring the cosmic forces into my body, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. I bring the cosmic forces into my body, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. You could say being if you want. I bring the cosmic forces into my being, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. You say that
and
every
that
morning.
and that will help you to stop the crying, stop feeling lost, and feel like your home is within you wherever you go. Right, Joe?
Absolutely. And it helps
See
a
you later.
lot.
We got to
Bye-bye.
go.
Bye.
Bye.